Welcome back to Christian Questions Talk Radio with your breakfast with Jonathan and Rick. The objective of our program is to discuss with you, our listeners, thought-provoking and meaningful topics based on the Bible. This is a call-in format. We are caller-friendly, and we look forward to hearing from you. We have an amazing topic this morning, Jonathan.
Yes, we do, Rick. And our question is, should you believe in ghosts? And our theme text is found in Matthew 8, verse 16. When evening came, many were demon-possessed. They were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick.
And to discuss this topic, we have with us on the phone Rick Cunningham from Troy, Michigan. Rick, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's a good thing, because if you weren't, I wouldn't have known what to do. And, Rick, we have been, in the first hour, we really spent some significant time laying some groundwork as to the idea of evil spirits and where they come from. And in a nutshell, we have talked about evil spirits' origination being, they were once good angels that were creations of God that fell from that first estate, fell from that first environment of being in God's court, if you will, and have been spending their time trapped, I guess is a good, or demoted to the Earth's atmosphere, and have been wreaking havoc on the Earth ever since. That's pretty much what we've established so far.
Yes, they took a God-given authority to help mankind prior to Noah's flood, and these fallen angels abused it and tried to create their own society and their own world, which God destroyed with the flood. But what we find is that Satan, who was the leading angel, was in the Garden of Eden, and he was actively trying to separate Adam and Eve's love and devotion to God to be love and devotion for himself. And he set himself up with this original lie that if Adam and Eve would eat this fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they wouldn't die like God had said, but they would live on. And that original lie is what ingratiated Eve to Satan, not realizing that was Satan because he was working through a serpent. So she was deceived. And lo and behold, Adam wasn't deceived, but Adam actually committed suicide. And I don't think people probably think of it that way, but he loved Eve more than he loved God at that moment. And he decided to eat the fruit with her so that whatever the consequence was for Eve, that would be his consequence. So he really knowingly committed suicide.
All right, so we have that, and the big issue here was not only the disobedience to God, but the swallowing, if you will, of this lie that you will not die, mixed with the truth that their eyes would be opened and they would be like God's, knowing good and evil and all of that. So you have Satan in his, and you've used this word a number of times so far, in his diabolical manner, giving us, he mixes his agenda with pieces of truth to make it much more palatable.
Yeah, that's that old saying, truth is stranger than fiction. But now Satan has a problem. He told Adam and Eve that they surely wouldn't die.
Right.
Well, all the evidence proves to the contrary. Adam and Eve started the dying process and actually ended up in the grave. And all their children ever after, all of mankind ends up dying and going into the grave. And sometimes that dying process is very short. We know babies that are born and die sometimes within hours, within days. Certainly we see children dying throughout the world. And mankind, maybe they live 100 years at best, and they all end up in the grave. So what's Satan going to do to try to convince mankind they really aren't dying after all? Well, he created all these variety of religions and different philosophical beliefs to try to further his lie or lend credence and support to this original lie that you surely don't die, that actually death is a process of rebirth. And so he came up with different ideologies such as a reincarnation, that actually you don't go out of existence when you die, but that actually you're just recreated into a new life form, that this is just a doorway into another world and another life. And in ancient times, the most ancient of religions can all trace their roots back to this common theme of paganism. And paganism has the belief, instead of one God, but of multiple gods, or pantheism. Theism, the thought of God. Pantheism, there's a variety, there's a panorama of gods, and they're found and they're worshipped through different aspects of nature and the forces of nature.
Okay, so there's this whole aspect of paganism that we're going to want to get into. Jonathan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question. It may not be timely or exactly where Rick wants to go with his comments, but I do remember a program we did in the past about how different cultures related information about a flood. It may have been different, not all the same, but it was amazing how many cultures had that in their history. But that was just a comment. But Rick, now a lot of people believe, based on Hollywood and superstition, that when people die, they turn into angels. And now, when people believe that, are these people that died, are they angels? Are they a part of this angelic realm that we are talking about here?
Well, we really appreciate that, Jonathan, because that's, we like to explode some of these popular myths of our day. And no, when people die, they don't become part of the angelic host. They don't turn into spirit beings. Actually, the Bible record is that when people die, they are, as it were, fallen asleep. They're out of existence, because let's think about it. Living is existing. Death is the opposite of existing. You are no longer alive, you're no longer existing, except as God has kept a record of every individual's personality and character and has promised a resurrection morning for all of the human family. And just referring to Jesus' own words found in John the 5th chapter, marvel not, for the hour is coming when all that are in their graves shall come forth. And that's the key, a resurrection versus reincarnation.
Okay, so, and that's a very important point. So really, now let's step back here and just think about what we're saying, because not only is this program, and we haven't even talked about ghosts yet, we haven't even gotten there yet, but not only have we opened up some scriptural reasoning on the origination of demons and these fallen angels and their influences in the world, but now what we're saying is Satan, the father of these things, and in John 8:44 he's spoken of as the father of lies, has allowed and directed the creation of all of these philosophies that are built around the idea that we don't die. God said you're going to die. Satan said you're not going to die. 99% of the world's population believes Satan.
Oops.
Yeah, that's a big oops. And I think that's a really, really important point. Scripturally, as you mentioned, Rick, we have the scriptural record, and we've gone through this many times on this program, Jonathan, where we've talked about what the scriptures say about death being death, not some other alter existence. Let's take a few minutes, though. Let's line up the differences between this paganism idea that you just mentioned, Rick, and Christianity, because they see things very differently, and as we lay out paganism, what we're going to find out very, very plainly, and I'll tell you kind of the answer before the question, is that you can see how it fits with Satan's ideas and philosophy. It's really based on that. Jonathan, we've got some 5 quick points on Christianity and paganism. Why don't you start going through those?
Number 1, Christianity sees life and the world as linear, having a beginning and moving onward through time, creation to the day of judgment, and of course the ages beyond. The pagan view is circular, the endless cycle of the seasons of death and rebirth. There will be no end of the world or universe. The Big Bang was not the moment of creation, but the last rebirth of the universe. For example, Christmas celebrates an event which happened 2,000 years ago. Yule celebrates an annual reoccurring event, the rebirth of the sun.
So the difference there is Christianity sees life as moving forward and moving onward, where paganism it's circular. But the key thing is, in paganism, there is no death. It's always a rebirth, like Rick said earlier, walking through a doorway to another life or another level of existence.